Good morning and welcome to U.S. Bank Business Watch. I'm Peg Rasconi. Sure, Cincinnati has its quirks, but our cool score is climbing. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece, Did You Know? It's the second iteration of the Cincinnati Explained, your answers to the toughest questions about all things related to the Queen City. Our region is seeing spiked tourism numbers and receiving buzz from around the world thanks to phenomena like Blink and one very captivating hippo. The Courier takes a deep dive into those and other attractions in an attempt to broaden your knowledge of the Queen City. The Courier's Hannah McCartney and Andy Brownfield researched and wrote this very fun story. Andy, who has a very high cool score, joins Business Watch producer Kelly Leon in the studio with more on the questions they answered, quirks they uncovered, and how to use this information to your advantage. Andy and Kelly.
Peg, thank you. Yeah, Andy, you and Hannah have high cool scores. I almost don't feel worthy to be doing this.
I don't know about that.
So tell me, by the way, that was Fiona. We mentioned the hippo, but I neglected to say her name. We want to make sure everybody recognizes Fiona. Why'd you guys do this story?
Well, you know, there's a lot about Cincinnati. I was born and raised here, and I traveled around a lot that I still didn't know, having spent the majority of my life here. And I feel like a lot of our readers also may have these questions. So we decided, you know, a couple of years ago to ask our readers to submit their questions about the city, and we'd answer them. And it was so well received that we decided now again to do it.
So as you and Hannah jumped into this year's iteration, what surprised you? What did you discover? What was new?
Well, I personally am a big fan of Geta. I didn't start eating it until college, until I moved to Athens, Ohio. And I always thought it was a purely Cincinnati thing, but it did have its origins in Germany. And with that being the case, I thought that, well, sure, maybe it's a traditional German dish that they're still making over there. And turns out native Germans have all but forgotten about Geta, and it really is something you will only find in Cincinnati.
And so for folks who may not know what it is, can you describe it?
Well, Geta uses all parts of the pig, even including pork hearts, and they fry it up and mash it with pin oats. And then it's formed into loaves, sliced and then pan-fried again, and served up usually for breakfast.
Yeah. My mom made it. I'm a native too, so I'm like, Geta, that's not a big deal, but yeah, to people from out of town or any place else, they have no idea what
Just
we're talking
like our
about.
chili.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they don't think it's really even chili. I was probably in grade school before I knew that chili had beans, like real chili, because we had chili and spaghetti, so totally Cincinnati. So what else? Like, you looked into Spring Grove. Like, who's buried in Spring Grove?
Well, you know, we've got a lot of former politicians, Supreme Court justices, a lot of movers and shakers who really shaped what Cincinnati and even the United States is. But if you were a TV watcher back probably about when I was born, you would be surprised to know that the Cool Ghoul,
Yes.
is buried in Spring Grove Cemetery.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And then one other just quick story. You talk about the connection between DeVue Park and Cincinnati, and it's not real family friendly.
No, it's not. And this comes courtesy of Greg Hand, a historian who most recently worked for the University of Cincinnati. William DeVue was a hat maker in Covington, but his son, William Jr., owned a lot of property in Cincinnati's red light districts, and most of those properties were brothels. So when he was a notorious penny pincher, so he died having amassed a vast wealth, and he left that all to the maintenance of DeVue Park, his family's namesake.
So, because of his questionable lifestyle, we have DeVue Park.
Yes, we do.
Awesome. All right, you got to pick up a print edition, read the full thing. Thanks to you and to Hannah for reporting this, and you for being here this morning.
Thanks.